Hey, Spencer Welch here, international vocal coach and the creator of Singing Ignition, the vocal academy that's not just for you, it's about you. Now today, in this video, I'm going to be teaching you how to take your falsetto and strengthen it until it builds into a head voice that eventually is much more usable. And we're going to do it with a weird but very awesome exercise that I call. First though, let's define what we mean by falsetto and head voice and what the difference is between the two of them. What is falsetto? Hello! It's the lightest possible sound that a human being can make. Our vocal cords inside our larynx here, they can stretch, they can shorten, they can open, and they can close. So when you go into falsetto, particularly at a higher pitch, those stretcher muscles make your vocal cords get very thin and long, which raises the pitch, but because they're so thin, they can't resist much air, they can't come together with much depth, they produce a very light and thin sound. Then Spencer, what is head voice? So those stretcher muscles have made the vocal folds long and thin, but in head voice, the shortener muscles start to take over and they start to thicken up that longer, thinner vocal fold, giving it more depth, giving it more fullness. So instead of just falsetto, now we have head voice. There's a fuller spectral quality, to get fancy, in the voice. So another aspect of these vocal folds being thickened and coming together is that they also need to come together in a firmer kind of way, what we call adducted. Now the vocal folds are adducted with falsetto, but when we when we bring them together with a bit more firmness, now the air as it passes through makes the vocal cords go more than just less air passes through and more of it is converted into sound that's more resonant, that's more vibrant. Think of it like this. If you were humming, you can I wonder kind of hum, or you can that stinks. The has more adduction than the There's more air in that. Now we also need to couple this with a vocal tract, which is your mouth and your throat, that's a bit longer, that's a bit more open. That's why you see people when they're singing in their head voice on high notes, they drop their jaw, and they also often will try and keep their larynx resting, sitting a little bit lower, instead of a vocal tract that's short, which is going to produce a shrill, more kind of mosquito-like quality. We get something that's a little longer, a little bit more open, and so we're able now to boost some of the lower qualities, some of the fuller, warmer qualities of that high note, not just the high, thin aspects of falsetto. So now, drum roll. Here is that crazy exercise that's going to turn your falsetto into head voice and start to build it into something a bit more useful. And I call it the seagull. So I told you, it's a weird sound. I do not expect to hear your seagull solo on Spotify anytime soon. Don't worry about the sound of it first, worry about the feeling of it. If it feels good, eventually we can make it sound good. All right, so here's how you're gonna do it. Step number 1, choose a high pitch in your second passage, in that head voice range. So for tenors, that's gonna be B4. And for sopranos, that's going to be E5. Step number 2, on that high head voice pitch, locate your falsetto with a light, hooty ooh. So hooty like an owl, ooh, ooh, ooh. And of course, for sopranos, you're going to be up here. See, it was so high you couldn't even hear it. Step number 3, on that same pitch and in that same general feeling that the ooh gave you, imitate a seagull. Ooh, ah, ah, ah. This ah with a glottal attack stops the air at the beginning and then keeps the vocal folds firmly adducted to resist the air and produce a brassier, buzzier sound than the falsetto. Ooh, ah, ah. I told you it was going to be weird sounding, but can you hear the difference? Remember, this is temporary. I am not sending you on stage singing this way, I promise. Step number 4, 5, 67. A bunch of steps. Take that ah and little by little start to fill it in with more sound. Ah, 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 ah. Until you start to get a little bit more bottom end. You start to get a little bit more thickness in it, but you want to make sure that there's still some air flowing through that, or else it's going to become where you're holding your breath, and we don't want that. Now down the road, you're going to polish this into something that's less seagull-y, and more useful, So we have ooh, ma, love, hey, whatever word you want to do, little by little, put that into the spot where the seagull took you. The seagull is your friend. Follow the seagull. So there you go, guys. There is the seagull to help take your falsetto and build it up until it's something that starts to become much more useful than just ah. It's great to have options, but wouldn't you also like to be able to do that as well? So if you like this video and what I'm teaching here, I want you to consider really committing to your vocal growth and progress this year. And one way you can do that is signing up for my Vocal Academy Singing Ignition. This is different from so many other programs out there because I'm going to listen to you and I'm going to build workouts, exercises around you, around what your voice needs. So it's not about you coming to me and me saying, hey, these are the exercises I'm offering, take them or leave them. It's going to be me coming to you and listening to you and saying, listen, you need to do the seagull and you need to do this and that and the other, and building something that's going to support what you need, taking into account your strengths and your challenges so that we can build up your voice and see you do some awesome things. So if you're ready to take your voice to that next level, singingignition.com. The link is in the description and in the cards. I want to see you there. I'm looking forward to helping you. Don't forget, if you put a like on this video, if you comment and you tell me how you did with the seagull, tell me if it's working for you. Tell me what's happening as you're working on building your falsetto and strengthening it until it becomes a head voice. I want to hear back from you. So like and comment and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.